Conor McGregor. You know the name, the man, the legend. But how did he get here? How did he rise from the streets of Dublin to the pinnacle of the fighting world? But before the money, the fame, the suits, Conor was just a kid from Crumlin, Dublin, a place where dreams are often overshadowed by the harsh realities of life, born with fighting spirit in his blood. Crumlin wasn't Beverly Hills. It was tough, gritty, but it forged Conor, made him hungry. The streets of Crumlin were his first battleground, where he learned to stand his ground and fight for what he believed in. Gave him that fire in his belly, a fire that would only grow stronger with time. From a young age, Conor was drawn to sports. It was his escape, his way of channeling his energy and aggression. From a young age, Conor was drawn to sports. It was his escape, his way of channeling his energy and aggression. Football was his first love. The beautiful game taught him discipline, teamwork, and the importance of strategy. But even then, there was something more he was searching for. But he had this thing in him, this need to test himself, push his limits. He wasn't content with just being good. He wanted to be the best. This relentless drive led him to explore other avenues. He found that in martial arts. It called to him, the discipline, the respect, the sheer physicality of it all. It was a world where he could truly test his mettle, this blend of skill, power, and respect. Martial arts offered him a new kind of challenge, one that required not just physical strength, but mental fortitude as well. It resonated with the young Irishman. He threw himself into training, dedicating countless hours to perfecting his craft. Every punch, every kick, every move was a step closer to his dream. Little did he know, this was the start of something massive. His journey from the streets of Dublin to the global stage was just beginning. Each fight, each victory, was a testament to his hard work and determination. This scrawny kid from Dublin would become a global icon. His story is one of grit, determination, and an unyielding will to succeed. Conor McGregor didn't just rise to the top, he fought his way there one punch at a time. Conor started training at a local gym. Nothing fancy, just a small local place with basic equipment. No high-end machines or luxurious amenities, just the essentials. But what it lacked in glamour, it made up for in spirit. Conor put in the hard work and dedication. He was a natural, picking things up quick. His coaches noticed his potential almost immediately, but it wasn't all sunshine and roses. The road to success is never easy. Conor faced numerous challenges. There were days when he felt like giving up, when the weight of his dreams seemed too heavy to bear. Life threw him a curveball. He had to work to support himself. Became a plumber. It was a tough job, physically demanding and mentally exhausting, but Conor took it in stride. Yeah, you heard right. The notorious one fixing pipes. It was hard to imagine, but it was his reality. He'd spend his days crawling under sinks and fixing leaks. But even with a wrench in his hand, Conor never gave up on his dream. He'd train before work, after work, whenever he could. Early mornings, late nights, it didn't matter. He was relentless. He knew what he wanted. He had a vision, a clear picture of his future, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get there. And he was willing to fight for it. Literally. Every punch, every jab, every drop of sweat was a step closer to his goal. This wasn't just a hobby for Conor, it was an obsession. He lived and breathed the sport. It consumed him, in the best way possible. He ate, slept, and breathed fighting. His diet was strict, his sleep schedule was disciplined. Everything he did was geared towards becoming the best. The gym became his second home, the ring, his sanctuary. It was where he felt most alive, where he could channel all his energy and passion. It was his escape, his refuge, and ultimately, his path to greatness. Conor's talent couldn't stay hidden forever. He started fighting professionally, rumbling in small venues across Ireland. He was raw, aggressive, exciting to watch. Every fight was a statement, a promise of greatness to come. Then came Cage Warriors, the big leagues in Ireland. Conor stormed the scene. He wasn't just winning, he was dominating. Knockouts, submissions, you name it, he delivered. The Irish fans loved him. This brash, confident kid with the knockout left hand, he became their champion, their hero. Word got around about this Irish phenom. The UFC came knocking, the biggest stage in MMA. Conor, in typical fashion, announced his arrival in style, a first-round knockout. The crowd went wild. Who was this guy, this cocky Irishman with the lightning-fast hands? The UFC had a new star on their hands, and Conor, he was just getting started. From that moment, there was no looking back. Conor McGregor had arrived, and the UFC would never be the same. Conor climbed the featherweight ranks, one fight at a time, each victory more impressive than the last. He predicted knockouts, rounds, and you know what? He delivered, every single time. Then came Jose Aldo, the long-reigning champion, undefeated for a decade. The hype for this fight was insane. The world was watching. And Conor, he delivered one of the most iconic knockouts in UFC history. 13 seconds, that's all it took. One punch, lights out. The king was dead. Long live the king. Conor McGregor was the new featherweight champion of the world. Conor's fighting style was electrifying, but it was his personality that captivated audiences. He talked the talk, and backed it up in the octagon. He wasn't afraid to speak his mind, to call out opponents, to predict his own victories. Some called him arrogant. Others, a genius marketer. Love him or hate him, you couldn't ignore him. He became a global superstar, transcending the sport of MMA. He was on magazine covers, talk shows, hanging out with celebrities. Conor McGregor was more than just a fighter. He was a brand, an icon, the Notorious one. Not everything was a walk in the park for Conor. His journey was filled with ups and downs, moments of triumph and times of despair. He faced setbacks, losses that tested his spirit and resolve. Each defeat was a lesson, a stepping stone to greatness. But he always bounced back, stronger than ever. His resilience and determination were unmatched, driving him to train harder and come back fiercer. Take his rivalry with Nate Diaz. It was one of the most talked about feuds in UFC history. Diaz, a tough-as-nails Stockton native, handed Conor his first UFC loss. It was a war, a back-and-forth brawl that left both fighters bloodied and exhausted. Conor, never one to back down from a challenge, demanded a rematch. He was determined to prove himself, to reclaim his honor. And what a rematch it was. The anticipation was electric, the crowd on the edge of their seats. The two warriors went toe-to-toe again. Each punch, each grapple, a testament to their skill and tenacity. This time, Conor emerged victorious. It was a hard-fought battle, but his hand was raised in triumph. It was a testament to his heart, his determination, his refusal to lose. Conor's journey was far from over, and he continued to push his limits. The Diaz rivalry became the stuff of legend. It was a saga of grit, respect, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Conor wasn't content with just one title. He wanted to make history. So he set his sights on the lightweight division. He challenged Eddie Alvarez, the reigning champion. What followed was a masterclass in striking. Conor dismantled Alvarez. He became the first fighter in UFC history to hold two titles simultaneously, the featherweight and lightweight belts. It was an unprecedented achievement. Conor McGregor was rewriting the history books. Conor's star power reached new heights. He crossed over into the boxing world, challenged Floyd Mayweather Jr., arguably the greatest boxer of all time. The fight was a global spectacle. Millions watched as Conor, a natural MMA fighter, went toe-to-toe with Mayweather in the boxing ring. Conor lost, but he earned the respect of the boxing world, and made a boatload of money in the process. The Mayweather fight showed Conor's ambition, his willingness to push boundaries, to test himself against the very best. Conor McGregor's impact on MMA is undeniable. He's one of the biggest stars the sport has ever seen. He brought a new level of showmanship, of self-promotion, of excitement. He inspired a generation of fighters. Conor proved that anything is possible, that a kid from Dublin could become a global icon. He showed the world the power of hard work, dedication, and unwavering self-belief. So what's next for Conor McGregor? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, he's not done yet. He's still got that fire in his belly. That hunger to compete, to entertain, to win. Whether it's in the UFC octagon or the boxing ring, Conor McGregor will continue to captivate audiences worldwide. He is a force of nature, an enigma, a true original, the Notorious one, and his story is far from over.